Do you know that 85% of people that watch the videos on the LFC or the Anfield Agenda Clips channel aren't subscribed? I think it's because people think they're already subscribed because it's Anfield Agenda content. So do me a favour, double check for me if you're watching this back. If you haven't, please do subscribe to the Anfield Agenda Clips channel. So Michael Owen has been speaking a little bit about Trent Alexander-Arnold and the situation. And this is what Michael Owen had to say. As I say, you can lose control, and once you move, it's almost then that you're out there on the open market, and it can be a strange feeling and a strange place to be when you're not where you feel like you belong, where you grew up, where you're loved, and where you're just ingrained into the fabric of the club, which is exactly where I was at that point, talking about when he left. So I can't decide what's going on here with Michael Owen. Is he trying to convince Trent to stay, or still telling him to call up and, talk to him about Madrid? But what I will say is he's right about it never being the same if he comes back after he leaves. That is an undoubtable point, I believe, or an inarguable point. So do you think we'll have 3 contracts on Christmas Day? No. I don't. And I'll tell you why. I don't think Trent wants to be here. I don't know that for a fact. Again, this is an opinion. But it's hard to feel like he wants to be here. Like, again, I'm going to keep coming back to the same thing. I look at Trent's situation like this, and this is me being as fair as I can be in my own warped little mind. Do I understand when Jurgen was leaving that he wanted to take stock of everything? Absolutely. Same with Salah, same with Virgil, and any other players. So I understood that, and I think as the contract situation wasn't resolved and we had to wait for the new coach, I think most people thought, okay, we can make peace with that. Then Arne Slot was appointed, and again I could understand that players, and I say plural, wanted to wait and see what Arne was going to be like, what he was going to be like on the training pitch, what he was going to be like as a person. Was he somebody that they feel that will improve them? And I feel like they got the answer to that quite quickly. And so did we as fans, because we got lots of positivity from the players talking about the attention to detail of Arne on the training pitch, the small little things he's doing to make their games better. And then the last question that needed to be answered was, if these guys stayed at Liverpool under Arne Slot, are we going to be competitive? Will we challenge for major trophies? And again, I feel that answer has been a resounding yes. So I've run out of excuses as to why Trent Alexander-Arnold won't commit to the club. And now I'm starting to get pissed off about it, if I'm being really blunt. Because Virgil and Mo, it isn't in their hands. Yes, they will have a big say in it, but ultimately there has to be a bit of compromise. But we've heard them say, I want to be here. Both of them, to the TV cameras. The local boy who claims to have, a heart that bleeds Liverpool red, won't come out and say he wants to stay at the club. And that pisses me off. And I'm not even a Scouser. So, nobody will deny that the contract negotiations are difficult. And nobody will deny that Trent, is going to want to try and get paid as much as he can. That's what these contract negotiations are about. But I view, and again, this is just me, I view somebody saying, I'm doing these things behind the scenes as a cop-out. That's the way I look at it. I think he's taken us for mugs. I do. I can't lie. That's because I don't know him. And I'm not getting any indication from his body language, which is hard to judge, from his words or anything, that he wants to be here. So, as I said, that's just how I've read the situation. I'm not saying it's 100% right. But as each week goes by without Trent coming out and saying categorically he wants to stay at this club, I'm starting to feel a little bit pissed off by it all, in all honesty. Trent said it'll be hidden from the public. Yeah, you see, there's 2 ways to look at what he said there, right? There's one way, which could be fair enough, deal with it privately behind the scenes. But let me ask you this question. If you think that Trent wants to stay and is dealing with it behind the scenes quietly, why do Madrid still think they have a chance? Why hasn't he told Madrid privately to fuck off? I think he's speaking out of both sides of his mouth, playing one off against the other, because no part of me believes in any way, shape or form that Real Madrid will pay him the type of money that Liverpool will probably end up paying him if he stays. None. So you can view it as he wants to keep it private, or you can view it as he's being a bit of a shithouse about it and stringing people along. And now I think we're getting to the point in my mind where we're at the stringing people along part. Again, just my opinion. I'm not saying you have to feel that way, or I'm not saying it's right, but that's how I look at it right now. I've yet to hear the words, and it pisses me off as a Liverpool fan. I want to stay. I, the local boy, who only 6 months ago wanted to captain the club and wanted to win everything here with my boyhood club, suddenly can't even tell Madrid that he's made his mind up and he's wanting to stay at Liverpool. That pisses me off. Oh mate, no, don't apologise for your comment, bro. All good. Like, I can understand. If somebody says to me, Craig, Trent said he wants to keep it, private. If they feel comfortable with that and they think that's, they're not worried about it, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. You feel however you feel, man. That's all good. But I'm just telling you how I feel about it. I think if he doesn't come, if he has any thoughts of leaving and he doesn't come out and say soon that he's weighing up whether to stay or go, or he doesn't come out and be, honesty is the way to go with this, because most people would hate to see him leave but could understand the lure of Real Madrid, and maybe a guy wanting to try live a dream and go over there and play with Mbappe and Bellingham. Most people could understand that if you're upfront and honest. But if you string people along and you've already made your decision in your mind and you're just dragging it out and out as try and get closer to the end of the season, where, there's less anxiety inside the stadium, or there's less bad mood towards you, I think that can be cowardly. So, let's wait and see. Will said, I give up caring what Trent wants. It shows in his game that he's had his head turned by Real Madrid. We have a quality replacement in Bradley. So yeah, look, as you said, I've kind of trying to give up figuring out as well, but he walked around yesterday and jogged around with his fucking hands on his hips at times, which was inexcusable. In a game where we were down to 10 men, Szoboszlai, Jones and Gravenberch were running themselves into the ground. Salah was working hard, Darwin worked hard when he came on, everybody was putting a shift in, and Trent strolling around halfway through the game, jogging back. That's just not acceptable. It just is not acceptable. V. Aaron said, hey Craig, my opinion is Trent wants out. That's based on his attitude, jogging about, no urgency, cop-out responses. I don't want him as a captain. See, I find it difficult to speak about the captaincy, right? Because I wasn't the biggest fan of Virgil getting the armband, because I didn't see the leadership qualities in him. But I was wrong about that. And he's just gone about it in a different way. So, I don't know what type of captain Trent would make. I don't. But I do agree with you on the attitude not looking great. And I know he's an introverted kind of laid back dude anyway. But I can only think about yesterday's game and what we saw, which was a poor attitude. Charlie said, with Trent, I also think he wants out. His body language shows it. He's not said or hinted he wants to stay. Salah and VVD and Mr. I want 350k. Look, I'm going to say this. No matter what happens with the Trent contract situation, we are idiots if we give him £350,000 a week. Idiots. Because no right back in the world deserves to be on £350,000 a week. And there is no world, no way, no how, no planet that Trent deserves to be spoken about in the same context as Salah from a wage perspective. It is nonsense. He's already on more than enough money. So 250, he should be running with open arms to take that deal, because he's not worth 350 grand a week. He just isn't. And I say that as somebody who thinks Trent's brilliant, by the way, but not 350 grand a week for a right back. No way. Especially when we know what Mo had to do to get that. And I know, by the way, Trent and Robbo have put up unbelievable assist numbers in seasons past and whatnot, and I give him the fair dues for that. That's why he's on a good wage now. But Salah had to rewrite the record books to break our wage structure. And they still made a big deal out of it. And he barely got it. So, not for me. He doesn't deserve anywhere near that money. He just doesn't. Rain said, if Trent wants to leave, oh well, but I can't see why. And that, my friend, is my problem at the moment with him. I can't see why either. So I've worked backwards in this situation to giving him the benefit of the doubt when Jurgen left. We all seen how upset Trent was at Jurgen's departure, totally understandably. Jurgen would have been a huge influence on his career and a big person to see leave. But like you've said, mate, I don't see why you'd want to go now. Because we're brilliant and we're in a great position. And it looks like Virgil and Mo are going to stay. Arna's going to build on the start that he's had. And the club is again going in the right direction. I don't see why he'd want to go. I think he's made up his mind already, by the way. He's just... I don't think he's... So, I think that he's made up his mind in his own head. But he doesn't want to face up to the actual reality of the situation. I think he loves the idea of going to Madrid. I think he can see himself in a Madrid shirt. But as Michael Owen said as well, that whole actually doing the leaving of your boyhood club part, it's one thing to think about it. It's another thing to sign that paperwork, come out in front of the cameras, say goodbye to Liverpool fans. Know that when you come back to the city of Liverpool after your career with Madrid, you're never going to be looked at in the same way. I'm not saying you'll be hated. You'll be given the credit for what you achieved at the club, which was top notch, but you'll never be looked at the same. You'll never be held in the same esteem as a Gerrard or a Dalglish. These are just facts. If he goes to Madrid, he might win 2 Champions Leagues and blah blah blah, but he'll never feel the same in his home city again if that's where he decides to settle down and have his family. He just won't. Will said Coutinho head turned by Barca, Trent head turned by Madrid, gonna have similar careers. But I hope Trent sees what happened there though, because Coutinho was promised the sun, the moon and the stars at Barca, and they never even played him in the right position from day one. So again, the grass isn't always greener. And look, I understand what that Barcelona move meant to Felipe Coutinho, but you gave your word. And on top of that, here's something else that I don't know if you know or not about that situation, and this isn't me telling you. Melissa Reddy wrote an article about this, so you can search it up yourself. He not only lied to the club and Jurgen, not only tried to undermine Jurgen and say that he was being mistreated somewhat, he also went to senior pros at Liverpool behind the manager's back and asked them to help him get the move. Asked him to have a word. And as I said, you don't have to take my word for that. Melissa Reddy wrote a piece about it at the time, and I'm sure the piece is still available. That's how sly he was when he wasn't feigning back injuries.